final episode. But Rudy finally leaves the door, leaves the house or whatever, right? So the episode has, it's like a mixture of Rudues overcoming his depression, and it's a little mixture of, you see a little of Eris' perspective, right? Little Rudy as well. But let's first talk about the Rudues, though. That still is like the main, story on it. And this is called what I mentioned, I think, earlier in my review of the second episode. Links for whatever. And I think the good strength, right, of course, of Mushoku Tensei is the character development, right? It's the characters and so on, and it's the strength of the characters. And this episode is yet again, this is why this anime is the best character development, right? This years of animes. Or, I won't say the best in history of anime, but it definitely is up there. Like, this is one of the, if not the best, character developing animes, right? And I think that's what a lot of people love this anime too, or the novel or whatever, right? That it really has like the best character development in anime history, arguably. This last episode here is a perfect like example of this, right? Because it goes back to the classic that Rudues is a hikikomori, so he doesn't want to go outside, right? Because he was so heavily bullied, as we know, and we see more of that, and we see his parents, right? His divorce had cash and so on in the previous life. And he didn't leave, right? And now we see him here again being depressed. And of course, finally, it ends with him being like, I need to save mom, right? And he finally managed to get out of bed. He stops crying and it's like, I'm gonna go out and save mom. And then of course he goes into the snowstorm and it's like, I will find my mother, right? So, simply said, right? It's this amazing character development and character growth that really sells the anime. Which is about all the good scenes too, like it has good fight scenes or whatever, and good tension and so on, right? And generally good like world building and whatever, right? But well, I think this is the core of what makes this as a good anime, right? And again, one of the best animes ever, because it has arguably the best character development ever. But just like second to none, right? I have very few other animes that hasn't had this much, a main character that actually develops so much, right? And it's an interesting episode again because he starts by de-evolving, right? He starts by him first, going back to his previous life, right? Getting depression and so on. So that's a great point. I have to say, to be fair, because I said it. No, but I think this whole regression part was basically so strong too because since Eris leaves him after they had sex, right? Yeah, sex, and then he leaves him. He uses Rudy, right? He can't, and so on. Yeah, so he's all alone. And then he goes back to this like, I'm depressed, I have no friends, I have no family, everyone hates me, and he goes back to that, his earlier life of his self-hate and so on, right? Of course he was bullied heavily in school, though, so it wasn't just that he wasn't just imagining it, right? But still, he goes back to this kind of, he regresses back to this mental state, right? And then he has to overcome that, right? So, of course I feel good because I predicted that during the reaction, but I was like, he's gonna have to overcome this, right? He's gonna have the depression, he's going to be depressed again, but this time he's going to have to beat the depression, right? And I have to say this thing, though. I'm an anime only, right? But it felt like not only did they have like a flat with mom there, but I have to say it felt like mom actually was kind of like sending the flat to it, like a magic call, like, remember me, son? Yeah. Because it felt like he actually kind of had like a vision more from mom than anything. But regardless, though, he, for whatever reason, right, he remembers his scene with mom, and then he's like, yeah, you know what, I gotta go see my mom, right? And kind of finally this, and he managed to overcome this depression that he had in his first life too, right? And of course, we really earlier seen him overcoming his what's called agoraphobia, right? Fear of people and fear of places, so on. Yeah, overcoming that kind of large crowd issues and whatnot with Roxy, so on, as we saw in the earlier episodes. But that's why some of the reason was a good written anime, because Rudy is such an imperfect and mentally weak main character, right? It's easy for him to, lose his, fate or whatever, right? And go back into this earlier form when he's, has zero beliefs, half whatever, right? So it's a really good final episode, and as I said earlier, I'm an anime only, but I definitely, and people have said this though, so I've been spoiled about this thing though, but I would obviously assume this is a time skip moment right now. There is a time for a time skip, right? It feels very, very obvious that it's going to be a time skip now when he finally got out to say mom, and then a time skip for the next season, right? That feels like an absolute no-brainer that it's going to be a time skip right now here. I haven't been spoiled when the time skip occurs, or if it's more one time skip, but I have been spoiled, unfortunately, with some parts of that. It's going to be a time skip. I'll be spoiled, but it seems to me obvious that it's gonna be a time skip now. But maybe it's more than one, right? But if it's there, here clearly it's probably a time skip. So the report was really good, and what can you say more? Right? He's finally overcoming that stuff, and it would be interesting to see who we can pick up so on the side, right? And I can see it being a lot of like side stories and so on. As I mentioned last week, I would love to see like a Ghislaine OVA, right? Because obviously Ghislaine is the best waifu, but I would love to see some OVAs or whatever in between. Of course, this season and season 2, right? That maybe necessarily wouldn't be about Rudues, but it could be about, you know, what Eris is doing right, what Rudues is doing, Ghislaine and so on. It could be about the other characters, right? I can definitely see a lot of side stories being told here. Both what happened after Ghislaine, of course, got teleported, but also what's happening like with her, you know, and during this time and so on. So it can be like an OVA. So, I can easily see that being done. So yeah, let's talk about Eris. I think it's Eris at least. I can't be the only one. When I saw the preview, I was like, that's a boy. It doesn't look Eris at all. I can't be the only one. Am I the only one? That is Eris looks like a male character now. I mean, yeah, you know, the hair makes the girl, come on, but this looks like a Bishon and like a pretty boy. I've seen too many animes now. It's like a Felix character, the best one. Come on, this is a boy. But anyway, I expected honestly more for Eris in this episode. It wasn't that much Eris, yeah. It was like Eris basically confirming that she loves Rudues, right? Talks to Ghislaine about what happened. Basically, she probably, of course, told Ghislaine that she, you know, seduced Rudues, right? God damn it. I would imagine so, right? And, you know, generally speaking to Ghislaine what happened and so on, and maybe gave her the dirty details. I think Ghislaine doesn't have really any, you know. She probably told her, like, overdid this position. She probably told Ghislaine everything. She was like, Ghislaine, we started in this thing, then we did this thing, and then there was that thing, and that was pretty good. I'm honestly imagining her telling Ghislaine everything, seriously, but I'm not joking. I imagine they have that kind of relationship. Given how Ghislaine is, she probably was like, give me all the details, very details, right? But anyway, if you could first, let's say this thing, right? People that are being so angry over this, I say people, but you know, people that are mostly race-baited, right? Have been so angry over that. Oh my god, Rudues was seduced by Eris, oh, so on. But I think this episode here, again, perfectly illustrates that, well, I mean, she's the one that pushed him down, you know what I mean? She's the one who's like, I want to do it before I leave, yeah. And this again enforced that, right? I read a tweet yesterday, I think. There was someone that was like, Rudues de-evolved to his 30-plus-year-old man enjoying, you know, intercourse. And I was like, that's a really dumb tweet, right? Thought too much here, but it's also a dumb tweet because the whole idea, because that whole concept is like, wait, are you saying that Eris couldn't enjoy it? You know what I mean? It's like my last review. Of course, Eris wanted to do it. And here she's again like, I wanted to do it, you know what I mean? I'm not saying, but I'm just saying that it's like, the general concept that a woman doesn't have any urgency, right? I think that's like a huge issue, honestly, with people hating on Rudues, because it's like, it really like devalues Eris as a character, right? Eris, this female character, looks like a boy here, I know, but you know what I mean? This female boy-looking character, she has her own agency, right? She's a woman that wanted to be with Rudy, right? Regardless of what Rudy is, right? She wanted to be with him. And you're generally saying that, oh, it's only Rudy being a pervert, whatever, right? That really devalues Eris as a character, her personality, whatever. Also, Eris is a very aggressive woman, right? She's a very tsundere, very, you know, very hot character, right? I mean, hot as in hot-headed, right? So again, it also is kind of like, why can't a female character also want to have, you know, a fun time, right? So I think generally, this scene here, again, is like, you know, showing her perspective, right? Like, yeah, of course she also might have her own desires, right? So that's one reason why I think that the whole stance of hating Rudy is so, it's honestly kind of disgusting, because, you know, it kind of shows you people that I would argue for kind of strongly actually doesn't really believe in that a woman can have their own agency, right? To be fair. That being said, I think most people are just doing it for their attention, right? But that's another episode. that's another storyline. But anyway, yeah. It was nice seeing Eris, nice seeing some Ghislaine, right? I wish there was more of this thing. It didn't really develop. I don't know. Honestly, I felt that it didn't really go that much into any details, right? Okay. Let me tell you! Yeah, let me tell you some stuff now! It's like, I know she's so proud of being captured, basically. I was like, yeah! But anyway, this just kind of showed you what's happening, right? It was kind of like, her eyes could give Roxy the insight of what's happening. It might be important later. and gave also some insight, like happened with Paul, so right. But it didn't really. I don't know if it meant anything really that Roxy learned this stuff. Honestly, but it was a nice scene, and obviously seeing the super slutty elf doing guys in the background—that's the best part of. Let's be honest, if you all, that's the best part. Let's find one of those scenes, but come on, we all know that's the best part. In every goddamn episode, we see her doing some guy in the background, and that's it. Come on, this is the best part. We see she's like in there in the background, like having intercourse with the guy in the background. Come on, this is the best part of every episode. That she is always like sleeping with someone in every goddamn scene. Yeah, like Roxy's like half drunk, she's like having sex in the background. You're like, it's just. She's a very, very, she's a very free-spirited woman. And her bonus mommy. I mean, I would imagine that Norn is also, I mean, she has 2 moms, right? Certainly, it's like, it's obvious for her that this is, my stepmom and my, my dad has 2 wives, right? It's obvious for her who's the real mom, right? To be biologically speaking. But I still would imagine that, Norn is raised by both her mommies, right? Her father has 2 wives, right? So, she's still... It's like getting half my mom back, almost right. But it's a good scene, of course, and it's also nice how both Paul is like, don't worry, Onishan is gonna save her. Right? Yeah, it's like, I believe in my son, and then see they're also like, Rudues can save us. Rudues got this, right? Rudues got this, yeah. So it's nice how they're all like, we trust in Onishan, he can do it. As of course, she's like, you better save me, son, and it finally got him out of the cave, right? But she couldn't really find mom. She was trying to tell Roxy, right, like, where is the mommy? That didn't work out at all. And it seems like mom is really, really screwed. But I guess, she's going to be found eventually, of course, in the next season, right? Probably. But what I could gather is that mom is, like, stuck in some ancient dragon cave or something. Yeah, she was, like, in a desert and then went down into the ancient ruins. Then they went down further. There was, like, some dragon or something, or a behemoth, right? So mom seems to be really screwed, though. Like, mom is stuck in some freaking, like, underground sci-fi basement shit, right? Guarded by like 25, orc demons or something. Yeah, mom looks to be really screwed. So I would guess that I don't think mom is gonna be saved immediately next season. I would. It depends on what happens during this time. Assuming it's a time skip. Assuming it's a time skip between this and next season. I don't think mom is gonna be saved in the beginning of the time skip, right? Or has been saved during the time skip. Because it felt like she was like, down in this like hardcore level 100 dungeon, right? It feels like mom is really, really in the shitters down there. So, honestly, I guess they probably still haven't saved mom when it starts actually. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's gonna save it during time skip and we're gonna see mom being back with him. But I think it's probably, this is my guess of course, and only right. My guess would be like we're gonna get into like a time skip, and then when the time skip is over, then we're gonna have Rudues. Maybe he has located kind of where Bob can be, right? And the first arc, or one of the first arcs next season, is probably saving Mom, right? That would be my guess, yeah. Like the first, kind of one of the first early arcs next season is like, how can we save Mom? She's guarded by like 10 dragons, and you're gonna go down there and defeat them, right? That's something like that. That would be my guess. And also, I guess lastly, we also had these older characters that I guess is gonna be part of the. We kind of saw them during Grandpa's death and so on, right? But honestly, as an anime only, I don't really know what those characters are. Yeah, it's like maybe one is Sylphie, I don't know. Yeah, it was like maybe Sylphie's there. Yeah, that I don't know. After the ending was like, here's some characters that we've seen once before, right? With Grandpa's death scene, of course. But yeah, that doesn't tell me much, honestly. As only seen the anime, I'm like, these characters, I recognize them, but I have no idea what they really do, except obviously being connected to the ruling class. And I guess they're gray rats like Eris cousins or whatever, right? I mean, yeah, sure, but honestly, I'm gonna say I don't know. But anyway, guys, hope you liked this review. Reaction, so on. Hope people loved that video I did with Rudues being a Disney main, disgusting, of course. And so, alright, subscribe and so on. I'm gonna go over to, of course, Demon Slayer now. I'll take a short break. Then we're Demon Slayer, and of course next year we're gonna watch. I mean, a lot of anime next year, right? Taking Titans back and so on, right? That's the best ending ever.